बातों में ऐसा उलझा जिया। आज तो लग रहा है पूरे दिल्ली में आग लगा देगी तू।
क्या आप चाहते हैं कि मैं पूरी दिल्ली में आग लगा दूं?
नहीं सिफ्रा, वो ऐसी मजाक कर रही है।
ओह, जोक।
Now, ever since I've watched Teri Baaton Mein Aisa Uljha Jiya, not only have I watched the film numerous times because of how entertaining it is, but I think it just deserves appreciation for the cast selection. And one of the crucial actors in the film is, of course, Rajesh Kumar, who is a seasoned actor who has worked in this industry for many, many years. And it was so refreshing and so wonderful to see him in the film. And I'm so glad you could join us today. So thank you so much, Rajesh, for
Thank
joining
you,
us.
thank you. It's an honor, absolutely, Anuj. Kind of, this is the first interview, or I guess first or the second interview which I'm giving related to the movie.
Wow.
So yeah, because I'm not too much into PR activity, so not many people I have approached, and not many people have approached me. But but still, it's such an amazing film to be part of, and thank you so much for recognizing that.
No, absolutely, Rajesh. I mean, I find it very alarming. So, have you done a lot of UK interactions, or is it a very rare thing that you've done?
Uh, no, I haven't done any UK interaction. I guess no, there was this. There is one of my friend who is from my school, but that was related to the school thing which we did. But
Wow.
not many UK interaction we have done. Yeah.
Well, thank you for giving us your first UK exclusive. So, I'm very honored that we could actually do that. So, that's even better.
Yeah.
But look, Rajesh, I mean, when it comes to unexpected opportunities, I think you definitely are no stranger to that. Whether it was the sort of success you had from Sarabhai versus Sarabhai, which you will be delving into later, or even you getting this opportunity with Teri Baaton Mein Aisa Uljha Jiya, because I heard this opportunity came about when you were in the UK or something, and you had to audition for the role and you
True.
got it.
Yeah.
So, how have you learned, especially as you've sort of matured over time, learned to cope with unexpected opportunities knocking at your door?
See, as an actor, you always have to be prepared that whatever opportunity strikes, you have to just grab the opportunity and bring the best out of yourself. And I did have a few setbacks in terms of, because of Sarabhai, not lot many people thought that, I can also venture into different kind of characters or roles. So I'll be very honest with you. There were few of the casting agencies with whom I did speak about, that a lot of web and good films are happening. So why aren't you guys approaching me also for work? So they had this reservation where they said that it's very difficult to break Rosachel's image. So I purposely worked on that image because somewhere I had to bring that maturity on my face, and that could only happen by gaining some weight here and there, and as well as the major thing was also I just went crew cut. I completely went bald for a movie called Addi,
Hmm.
and so because of the weight and less hair on my head, I got 4 films. Which
Wow.
I never thought will happen to me. And apart from that, then couple of web series happened because of that same height and weight kind of combination.
Hmm.
So I think people were ready, but they were not ready to see me look alike of Rosesh or anything closer to looking like Rosesh.
Hmm.
So I purposely had to do that. And so Teri Baaton Mein Uljhe Jiya was one of the films where I had, before auditioning, I told Vaibhav and the casting, mein jo casting director ka naam hai,
Hmm.
that, I've put on weight and I hope if it suits. They said, yeah, it's a character of Mama and they're looking someone like that. And plus, obviously, it's a comedy, so they need an actor who could, deliver it on time.
Hmm.
So the timing has to be right and the performance has to be right. So that's how Teri Baaton Mein Uljhe Jiya happened, and I was pretty excited that mainstream cinema finally is happening after 25 years of good work in this industry.
Yeah. And you know what I found really interesting? Because I was watching a few an interview that you did with Rajshri Unplugged, and
Yeah, yeah,
it was very interesting and fascinating because when Rosesh became a slow burning success, because obviously
yeah,
it didn't do very well eventually, like at the beginning of
yeah.
the stages, but then
True, true.
afterwards it managed to find its audience. A lot
Mhm.
of the executives at Star actually thought this was your first role when actually you had a great body of work before. Like you had what Ik Mehal Ho Sapno Ka, and
Yeah,
then that
yeah.
Kusum that you
The
did.
Kusum serial was there. Yeah,
So there was
Kaun
so
Apna
many,
Kaun Kare.
exactly, so many shows you've done. Uh, Rajesh, how have you not allowed these things to affect you mentally, emotionally, or perhaps get bitter about it? I know it's a very heavy question to begin on, but I think your journey is as such where I think it just warrants this question because I feel like थोड़ा सा setback हो जाता है इस industry में, or if you get overlooked, people completely lose their minds, but you've managed to really survive and thrive, may I say so as well.
See, one thing is the moment you are born as a human, you also do have a social structure to live with, right? So selection of right people around you to keep you going on. I mean, see, parents you cannot ask for that. मेरा बाप ये होना चाहिए, मेरी माँ ये होनी चाहिए, right? But rest of the arrangement, social arrangement, I would say, whether it is your marriage, whether it is your friends, whether your mentor, your guide, your guru, everything, apart from, and these arrangements are, is supposed to be made by you. So
Hmm.
so what kind of strength you need around you is one thing you should invest your life into, that you are surrounded by right kind of people, that whenever you are in that phase, I mean, mentally on your own, someone is there to support you and guide you and say that, hey, this is like, just pull you out of it without making it further depressing for you or further devastating for you or whatever word you have. So
Hmm.
right kind of people around you is the first choice which we can make apart from selecting parents. Secondly, I was for a movie, I was that movie is yet to get released, and I was traveling to UK, I remember, and early morning I was very happy, and I was at this counter, British Airways counter, and so obviously in Mumbai, the female was from India.
Hmm.
So I was in my good chirpy mood and early morning humor and everything was happening. So I'll answer why I'm saying this, because this is like one line answer to your that question. So when I was about to check in, then she asked me, "So how many baggages you have, to check in?" And I just smiled and I looked at her and I said, "I do not have any baggage. I only carry luggage." So that's the fact.
Wow, that's beautiful. So I think just to kind of summarize what you said is that you don't carry emotional baggages,
Yeah,
right? That's what you're
absolutely.
trying to
There's nothing to carry because the world is so beautiful. There's so much of happening around that your own happening is inconsequential unless you find something meaningful, more meaningful than you. And around me, everything is mesmerizing. Yeah, the whole living world is mesmerizing apart from your own life. So, where is the time to be depressed? You are
say.
here for this, to time and energy, as you know, you are here for stipulated, whatever that fixed period of time. उसमें से भी अगर 4 साल तुमने डिप्रेशन में लगा दिया तो मतलब तुमसे बड़ा बेवकूफ कोई है ही नहीं यार.
Bilkul. No, 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 absolutely. No, no, of course. I think feeling, I mean, of course, I mean, when you are going for anxiety and depression, of course, that's an illness. But I think obviously when
Yeah.
feeling bitter about things, of course, is definitely something which one can
I
definitely
did
do.
feel bitter
Yeah.
uh, when these things were not happening, and the casting people said that we cannot find something because people have so much of rosacea in their head. I felt like, which I've said in other interviews as well, that I felt like a Spider-Man who got stuck in his own web,
Mm,
rather than just going from here to there. But ठीक है, choice of work was very fine after rosacea. Also, good work of But television I have done, and a lot of main roles I have done. I think I've done more than 35, 40 characters in television, and that also kind of main leads. Bitter, I was not bitter after that. It was like, okay, how do I now work forward? Because this is the mindset people are in. So how can I break that? And the only thing I thought that let people ask me, "Are you the same guy who played Rosesh?"
Mm.
And this has been happening now continuously because people have not seen me this huge and big face and short hair, and so they just got confused that is it the same guy who played Rosesh or is he not? So there I have broken that whole thing, for the work atmosphere. After May, June, yeah, by that time when the things will, settle down, and a couple of movies and um, web series when it will be out, people will see me in different characters, and that kind of will change the perception.
I think it's very honest of you, and thank you so much for saying that. And because I do feel that it's wonderful how you managed to have such a natural flair when it comes to humor. I think there's a very sense of wittiness that you have, but also your humor is it's very clean. आजकल I see लोग पता नहीं क्या क्या कर लेते हैं ह्यूमर के नाम पे, क्या क्या बोल लेते हैं ह्यूमर के नाम पे. And always stayed away from engaging in any sort of mess of that sort. What do you think has really contributed towards this clean humor and this sort of witty appeal that you have as an artist?
आ कोई profound आंसर नहीं है इसका इसका बहुत सिंपल आंसर है मेरे पास. And for me, simplicity is the most profound thing you can ever have. When you do not mince too many words to say what exactly you want to convey. The simplest answer is that for me, humor is the reflection of society you live in, right? So because a person who is riding a rickshaw, or a person who might be begging on the street, or person who or could be farmers, or could be anyone, any strata of society we talk about, they all have their own set of humor. ऐसा तो है नहीं कि सिर्फ अमीर ही लोग हंसते होंगे. हर कोई हंसता होगा ना अपने अपने लिमिटेड जोक्स पे. बट हो सकता है कि हमारे किसी जोक पे अंबानीज को हंसी ना आए, अंबानीज के जोक पे हमें हंसी ना आए, because you could not relate with those society, right? So my whole idea was to that this is the society जो maximum है, मिडिल क्लास एंड अपर मिडिल क्लास वाली जो सोसाइटी है, ये इसकी पॉपुलेशन बहुत ज्यादा है. So how do I keep that massy appeal with me? That kind of humor always appealed to me. So that is where that wit is. It just flows, for me. Humor flows for me because I'm observant. I'm always, I'm traveling a lot. I go to the places where people do not recognize me for that matter, and where you are just on your own. So there you get, if you stare at someone, they do not mind because they do not know that I am there as an actor who is working on myself. So बहुत सारी चीजें होती हैं. प्लस मुझे एक और चीज लगता है जो बहुत फैसिनेटिंग है, और वो बरसों से चलता आया है, एंड इट विल बी ऑन फॉर एवर इन ह्यूमर, is like, if can you make fun of yourself? Can you be Charlie Chaplin? Can you fall yourself, or Laurel Hardy, where you bash your own self, and that's what make people laugh. And when जब आप खुद की बेइज्जती करते हैं, खुद के ऊपर जोक्स डाल ले लेते हैं, तो वो और ज्यादा मजेदार हो जाता है. एंड आई थिंक whether it was Rosesh, whether इसमें भी, if you see that I get slapped all the time, in the film. So somewhere जितना आप अपने आप को बेवकूफ बना लेते हो, ऑडियंस को उतना ही मजा आने लगता है. So somewhere I think that this worked, and this will always work. I mean, Charlie Chaplin kind of humor will always work.
Right. No, absolutely. And I think, it definitely takes a very large-hearted a person to also make a joke on themselves, especially at the expense of
I mean,
themselves.
sorry to interrupt, but उस फिल्म में तुमने देखा होगा कि वो there was this scene जहाँ पे हम लोग सब शराब पी रहे हैं and धर्म जी he makes fun of me and there I ask that ये मजाक उड़ा रहे हैं क्या? हाँ, oh तो ठीक है, ये मेरा मजाक उड़ा रहा है. So it's very simple then. It's fine then, it's fine. I mean, if
Right.
you are not humiliating me, it's fine. मेरा मजाक उड़ा रहे हो, I'm fine. So,
Absolutely. No, no, very, very true. Very rightly said. I
mm,
think also actors have this innate ability to absorb things around them, whether it's people, whether it's behavior, whether it's emotions. That's one thing that I have definitely extrapolated from them, from the interviews that I've had with them over these years. And I think when you are on a set like Teri Baaton Mein Aisa Uljha Jiya, because I think the casting was extraordinary in this film. You only not only had our current big superstars like Kriti and Shahid in the film, you also had seasoned legends like of course Dharamji. You had Rakesh Bedi sir, you had Dimple Kapadia ma'am on there as well. Uh, so when you are kind of in such a beautiful mix of actors, because see you had that already in shows like Baa Bahoo or Baby also. When you are surrounded by such a good mix of actors, how do you also imbibe some of their qualities and their perspectives of the craft as well, if at all?
Okay, so I can give you an example. Okay, we did not have too much of interaction with Shahid and Kriti because उनका isolation बहुत ज्यादा था और जहाँ पे family में भी थे तो they were in isolated mood because they were seeing the whole film and they were placing themselves in the family according to that. So we did not have too much of interaction with them, but Dharamji ke saath I had a lot of interaction, but that was completely everyone was talking about legend Dharamji, his films, his work, his everything, admiration of how handsome he was. I had a very different topic to talk to him. I was talking to him about agriculture. I was talking to him about farming. I was talking to him about farmers. And that is how he started calling me Mere Kisan Dost, Mere Kisan Dost. And he also gave me an opportunity where my farmers were invited to his house, you know. Yeah, and Dharamji received them very well and spoke to them for an hour and making those farmers sit in his own drawing room in his bungalow, you know. So for the farmers also, it was a new thing. So that kind of person he is, and that that also gives you enough reason to learn that आप कितने भी बड़े बन जाओ, you know, it's just आपका व्यवहार ही है जो pulls you through your life. Your character should be strong enough to keep you up. So वहां ये समझ में आया. डिम्पल जी के साथ एक इंटरेक्शन जो हुआ था. डिम्पल जी is very much like us. I mean, she has body of work and years of experience and plethora, Pandora box of stories and so many things to talk. But one thing which I admired about her, which not many people noticed, again, uh, we all were sitting together in that cold, wintry night in Jaisalmer shooting, and break था, time था, थोड़ा सब लोग साथ में बैठे हुए थे, lighting चल रही थी. So Rakesh Bedi sir was there, and Grusha was there, and I was there, and Anubha was there, and everyone was, appreciating her body of work. Ma'am, oh, you were looking so beautiful in that film. Oh, ma'am, what a performance in that film. So that's the easiest thing you do at the very first go. And she just said, okay, fine, enough about me. Thank you so much. I appreciate that you all have admired my work all these years. May I know little bit about you guys also?
That's
Your
amazing.
body of work, your what have you done? Where are you coming from? What kind of background you have? Where do you see stars listening to you? So listening also tells you about the character. That is the person interested in you or not? So I think many of them today with all due respect to all biggie actors and biggie actors, because of mobile, social media, their own set of people around them, the penetration of or any conversation or any give and take, बड़े लेवल पे नहीं हो पाता है, क्योंकि वो अपने ही लोगों से सराउंडेड रहते हैं और उनको लगता है यही आर्ट मेरे लिए मैटर कर रहे हैं इस सेट पे। तो उस चक्कर में वो अपनी ही एक दुनिया बना के चलते हैं, उस दुनिया में आप वेलकम नहीं है,
Hmm.
आपकी दुनिया के बारे में वो जानना नहीं चाहते हैं। तो कहीं ना कहीं एक साथ होते हुए भी एक अलगावपन रह जाता है।
There's a
And
barrier.
there is and there is lot. So if you ask me, what did you take anything from um, what did you take anything from Shahid or Kriti? We could only see how professional they are while working, but we could not see the other side of them as a human,
Hmm.
because वो उतनी बातचीत ही नहीं हो पाई। तो
Hmm.
तो वो एक बहुत जरूरी चीज है लर्निंग के लिए, कि एक तो आप कम से कम सुनना शुरू करें, और एक तो आप सुनना शुरू करें, वो बहुत जरूरी है। सेकेंडली, द होल आइडिया इज अबाउट हाउ इंटरेक्टिव यू आर विथ योर को एक्टर्स, एंड नॉट सीइंग देम कि ये कौन सी गाड़ी से उतरा है।
Hmm.
आई होप यू नो what I
Yeah, no, no,
mean to
no.
say.
I completely get what you're saying. It's almost like we always end up seeing the finished product of what that person is,
Yeah,
especially that artist is, but
true,
no one ever
true,
wants
true.
to know the journey they've had to getting to that stage.
Yes,
And I think
yes,
this is
yes.
exactly what my platform, Filme Show Me, is about. Is we discuss that
Mm,
because I think, again, it's not discussed enough or celebrated enough. I would
mm,
love. Let's talk a bit about the film's concept about AI, and I think it's a
mm.
very scary subject in many ways because um I fear how technology is taking over the world where it's almost sort of in a way replacing human efforts, or at least it's trying to do that.
Mhm.
You also have a very rich agriculture background. So, you
Yeah.
took it up upon yourself because you came to know about the importance of
Mm,
agriculture at that point of your
mm,
career.
mm, mm, mm.
And I think it's remarkable the way you've done that. Uh, when we've seen the influence of AI in entertainment, do you ever fear that could also happen with agriculture as well? AI robots actually coming up, and do you think that could actually perhaps be advantages as well to some extent?
Yeah, yeah, AI has a big role to play in agriculture today. I mean, there are so many informations that across the world, if you're growing a certain kind of crop, and if you're, say, growing it in West Bengal and the same crop is being grown in Kerala, or, in the same kind of tropical environment where the same amount of rain is happening, and then what kind of damage it does to the crop, or what kind of insects attack on the crop. I mean, if it is completely uploaded on the AI, the person on the other part of India or the world can pick them up with their experience. So AI keeps on helping you with that. Having said that, ultimately it's a very labor oriented thing. AI has replaced a lot of labor, because आज इंडिया में भी लेबर की कमी है, इतने पॉपुलेशन के बाद भी you do not find people working in farm. They prefer to come and be a watchman sitting outside the ATM and getting 10,000 rupees a month, rather than working on their whatever an acre of land and
Mm,
earn money, because it is अभी भी इंडिया में एग्रीकल्चर ग्लैमराइज नहीं हुआ है, अभी भी कमाई जो है बहुत उस लेवल पे नहीं हुई है दैट यू स्टार्ट इन्वेस्टिंग योरसेल्फ इन दैट,
mm,
so AI has replaced them. सोइंग टाइम है या तुम्हारा हार्वेस्टिंग है, उसके लिए जो मशीन्स आ रही हैं, कि भाई इतने इतने डिस्टेंस पे सीड लगना चाहिए, everything is computerized, everything is, the information is fed very properly, and accordingly the machine acts on the farm, on the field. So whether it is a spray of the pesticides or insecticides happening through drones, So a lot of work is happening, but yeah, robot अभी field में घुसाना थोड़ा मुश्किल है, because ultimately you are dealing with something which is more alive than alive, and which is keeping everything alive around us. So robot is just the also come out of soil. I mean, also come out of your own head, but the soil needs the human intervention. So
Hmm.
it cannot take it up completely, but yeah, input wise, lot of input, and it can help, and
Right.
that's where AI is doing.
I'm really fascinated about what you said about how it's not been romanticized or it's not
Yeah,
been
yeah,
normalized in our, which I honestly I agree with you, because I think it's so
true,
important. I mean, if we don't have farmers, how the hell are we going to eat? And I think it's such an
absolutely.
important aspect of our society, and it's not talked about. And I would love to ask about and discuss the representation of farmers that we've had in Hindi cinema as well. I think at the
Mhm.
times when it came out, obviously it served a purpose then because that was the state of India, that was the state of the
Mm,
mindset of society at that time. But I feel
mm,
for the longest amount of time, and obviously it's kind of true as well because I think definitely farmers definitely do suffer a lot in terms of the financial side of
mm,
things as well. But a lot of the stuff I've seen are very almost poverty porn. It's almost glorifying the poverty and glorifying their struggles in that sense. And it's not actually humanizing their efforts and their journeys and offering a sense of hope to them. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here. And if you obviously, I'd
No,
love
no,
to
I
know
agree,
your opinion on
absolutely.
it.
Mm.
What do you think could perhaps improve the representation of farmers, especially in the mainstream Hindi cinema front?
Not mainstream Hindi cinema, that comes later on. The mainstream education system, we need to correct it. All the books, especially at the elementary level or the secondary level, the primary level, the Hindi books especially, I mean, or the English, whatever, the stories. हिंदी में अगर बोलोगे तो हर कहानी की शुरुआत ही यही होती है, एक गरीब किसान था, एक असहाय किसान था और उसके दो छोटे बच्चे थे. So, what are you doing? I mean, at a very elementary level, you are putting this seed in head of the kids that the moment you become farmer, you are poor, and you have to be poor to be a farmer.
Exactly.
So, it's the problem in the education system. Once the education system starts glorifying it and comes up with the success story of the recent farmers, say 10 of them only, all those people who have done startups, and all those people who have got technology into the whole uh, agriculture sector, and they are trying to uplift the condition of the farmers and everyone. So these success stories need to be brought out for it to get it glamorized. People from industry, we do not need to make films on that, but people like us, can we actively participate in promoting them? Can we talk khuleam about agriculture?
Hmm.
Why our whole perception about ganne ka khet is all about loot part, rape and dacoity, correct?
Hmm.
आप एक बार कैटवॉक करवा लो यार वहां पे. Just give it a
Yeah,
different visual to
actually,
a whole thing.
that's a
Yeah,
really
give
good
it a different.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to glamorize something for people to notice it, right? Today, our government of India, or with all due respect, Modi ji जो कर रहे हैं, the way the whole thing is shot, his say for example, वो सेतु ब्रिज अगर ओपन होता है, या वल्लभ भाई पटेल का जो स्टैचू ओपन होता है, you glorify it, right, for the
Mhm.
people to have that visual
Hmm.
कि यार कितना खूबसूरत चीज बनी है, कितनी अच्छी चीज बनी है. There is the kind of coverage, the kind of lenses, the kind of camera work which happens, and the kind of music which plays behind those beautiful scenes, him walking, him waving, everything. So what do? You are just building a perception and glorifying the perception of that place.
Yeah.
The way he went to Lakshadweep, you see, पूरी दुनिया इधर की उधर हो गई यार. पूरा दो देश के बीच में चीजें ऊपर नीचे हो गई. सो
Hmm.
आप आपने लेकिन लक्षद्वीप को कितना बड़ा बना दिया, बीइंग अ सोलो मैन ट्रैवलिंग How? The visual, right? The beautification of it, everything, walking alone on that, white beach. और उस दिन सुबह सुबह थोड़ी झाड़ू लगाया होगा, but ऐसा है, ये खूबसूरत है लक्षद्वीप.
हाँ.
So somewhere, can we do the same thing in agriculture? सिर्फ हरा खेत दिखाने से नहीं है, but market का क्या है? And today I'll tell you one simple line. This is the age where you do not need to educate the farmers anymore. This is the age you need to educate the consumers. Let consumer decide what they want to eat.
Right.
For a farmer, they put an organic pesticide or they put a chemical pesticide. A plant of capsicum will only grow capsicum. And that it doesn't matter for the capsicum plant what exactly is thrown on it, but what exactly what kind of capsicum then we are consuming is ruining our health. We should be aware. Farmer is ready to grow both ways.
True.
You give them the price, you give them their effort. It takes 90 days yaar ek tomato ugane mein. You do not have patience of 90 seconds also when you throw it. And you decide that this is bad, this is good, this is ugly, this has insect in it, इसमें कीड़ा लगा, इसमें जो भी है. So for him, unless we do not let our children know that यार 90 दिन की मेहनत है किसी का, patience है for 90 days just to grow one piece of tomato on your plate. I mean, you have to respect that. That has to have little bit of humility, gratitude towards it. And we as an actor, can we glorify it? Yes, we should glorify it. We should bring glamour to it.
I would love to know actually, because obviously our platform is more about cinema, but I think it's a very interesting connection that I've not seen many. I mean, of course, we've got Jackie Sir, who's amazing at his whole environmentalism activism that he's doing, which is great. But I think agriculture को लेके काफी, again, correct me if I'm wrong here, काफी कम लोग हैं जो मतलब actor भी है, but they're very strong.
सबके अपने फार्म हाउसेस हैं यार, सबके अपने फार्म हाउसेस हैं.
But what could be done better to perhaps again encourage?
वही मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि आप अपने फार्म हाउस से बाहर तो निकलो यार, दूसरे के फार्म में भी तो आओ. बस इतना ही है, और क्या है. मैं गमले में छोटा सा एक प्लांट लेकर के चलूं जिससे ये हो जाए कि पूरी देश में हरियाली हो जाए. बट आप मुंबई में जिस हिसाब से आप कंस्ट्रक्शन देख रहे हैं, आपको उतने छोटे से प्लांट को रखने की जगह नहीं है यार. दिस इज नॉट द टाइम कि आप 10 गमला लगा लेंगे और आपको लगेगा कि आप यू आर ब्रिंगिंग बैक एंड चेंजिंग क्लाइमेट. नो, इट कांट हैपन. It can't happen that way. I mean, you'll have to make everything self-sustainable. I mean, there are a lot of people who are doing hydroponics or aquaponics, and they are having their own kitchen garden and they're posting videos. Oh, I got one brinjal. That won't change climate. You have to think in a larger perspective. I have an idea, but I do not have a support of any NGO or something like that. Like, I am kind of staying in a multi-storied building, say, for example, and there are so many in Mumbai. Matlab, every second how, building is like multi-story building. Now, the kind of space they have on the roof, आप 3 ही 4 चीज मिट्टी डाल करके 3 ही 4 चीज आप जितना नीचे गार्डन बना रहे हो ना, लैंडस्केपिंग कर रहे हो, आप अगर हर बिल्डिंग के छत पे आप एक कितना लोड ले सकता है वो उतना आप अगर, और कितना मिट्टी चाहिए आपको, 1 फीट की तो मिट्टी चाहिए होती है यार, ओनली 1 फीट, राइट. आप हर बिल्डिंग के छत पे 1 1 फीट मिट्टी लगाइए, उसको एक प्रॉपर तरीके से कीजिए, और उस बिल्डिंग के जो बेसिक रिक्वायरमेंट है, फॉर एग्जांपल मिर्ची हो, धनिया हो, टमाटर हो, नॉट गोइंग इनटू द बिग दिस थिंग, बट पुदीना है या लेमन ग्रास है, ग्रो इट ऑन द रूफ टॉप, मैन. आई मीन, एंड इफ यू सी, अगर फिर आप ऊपर से आप देखोगे जब फ्लाइट से, अभी आप मुंबई में लैंड करो, आपको सिर्फ नीला 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 वो दिखता है, क्या बोलते हैं उसको, वो प्लास्टिक के शीट्स घर के ऊपर लगे हुए. नाउ इमेजिन इफ इट इज, अगर वो जुहू के साइड से प्लेन आ रहा है एंड यू सी ओनली ग्रीन बिल्डिंग्स, ग्रीन बिल्डिंग इन टर्म्स ऑफ द रूफ, It will reflect so much of sun. The less heat will get absorbed. So why can't we have a creative ideas? That's what I'm saying. So
Amazing.
you have to come out of your own farm to see कि दूसरे farm में क्या हो रहा है. वो मैंने लाख पेड़ लगा दिए, नहीं होता है उससे काम, नहीं होगा. 144 144 करोड़ तो हम लोग हैं यार.
Hmm. No, I
उसमें
think,
लाख पेड़ क्या है? Yeah.
and you know what? It's a very therapeutic thing also because I've been there and many times in India where obviously I've traveled into the gaos and I've seen farming like from a very close
Mm-hmm.
lens, and you know it's
Mm-hmm.
amazing, and the food that comes out of it is so fresh. It's
Yeah, yeah.
wonderful because see, a lot of the foods that we consume here, it's obviously
Mm.
come from, it's obviously a lot more processed in that sense because from the
You
taste.
guys are unfortunately, I'm telling you,
Yeah,
such a developed nation, but you guys are having the worst of the food today.
I agree.
Worst of the food.
No, I
You
agree.
know,
Absolutely agree.
not only processed food के कारण, but available ही नहीं है यार तुम्हारे पास fresh food. हमारे यहाँ कम से कम रोज एक मंडी तो लग रही है.
हाँ, like honestly,
वो
yeah, अगर धूप निकले तब अच्छी चीजें खाएंगे ना हम. Like half the time it's raining and miserable. Even now as
yeah.
I'm talking to you, it's raining. I'm like, oh God, it just never
I
ends.
love this. I love this. Read it once somewhere. They said that, London weather is all about either it is raining or it is about to rain.
Literally, you can never literally be prepared for the London weather. But it is what it is. It's home. So, but no, I think let's talk a bit more about the acting side of things because my first memory of you, Rajesh, actually was my connection with your character of Subodh in Baa Bahoo Baby, which,
Baba,
believe it
yeah.
or not, because I didn't watch Sarabhai versus Sarabhai at that point. I watched Baa Bahoo Baby, and
Hmm.
I don't know, I just felt very connected like to your character because I just feel like out of all the eccentric characters, even though your wife Sujita ji,
Yeah, Meenakshi. Yeah.
Minakshi again, you were a very Sulja Hua character, I would say, out of all the other quirky characters that were there. But yet also very emotionally, there was a lot within you that you kind of went through.
Hmm.
Um, Having done that, just after doing a Rosesh, did you feel a sense of maybe a bit of a difficulty of like zoning in and out of the characters, or did you find it quite easy to sort of switch between the two?
No, see, Rosesh, after a point of say 4 5 months, it became little easy because by then I had imbibed Rosesh within me, the voice, the mannerisms, and plus all the great actors around me who supported with their great reactions to the character Rosesh. Rosesh was sorted. Baa Bahoo Baby, we had a team of like 19, 20 actors, and everyone had something given in writing to them, that this character will do this character will do this character. So, somewhere, why Subodh also was easy, it was tough for me, but then that whole feeling that I do not have anything on the platter in this, not given anything in writing to work on as character. So I felt like alien to a certain extent initially because everyone was Gujarati. Everyone was, speaking so much in Gujarati. The whole narration was happening in Gujarati. And me being from Bihar, I was completely feeling alien to the whole thing.
Huh.
So I think that particular thing I kept on till the time I did Babu Baby, that I do not belong to this place. As a character, and that house also, I do not belong to this house because this house is more like सब अपना कर रहे हैं यार. तो वो जो होता है ना कि ये एनवायरनमेंट मेरे लिए नहीं है. तो आप लेकिन आपको इश्क है, आप परिवार का हिस्सा है और आपको रहना ही है, तो आप वो एक साइलेंस ले लेते हैं, या फिर आप जब भी बोलते हैं तो मैच्योरिटी के साथ बोलते हैं, या यू पार्टिसिपेट, बट ऑल्सो यू आर सीइंग थिंग्स फ्रॉम लिटिल डिस्टेंस, and you are seeing the whole spectacle happening in front of you, the magic happening in front of you. So I think that only made the character. So Rajesh and Subodh were like similar in terms of uh, that's how I started, because that Baa Bahoo Baby for me, if you say what it gave me as an actor, I started listening as an actor. Many actors, they do not listen, they suddenly jump up when their reaction comes, or when their dialogue comes. But
Yeah.
if you ask them to just silently hear what I'm saying, I mean, they do not know how to act. So that was the place where for 4 years, for 4.5, 5 years, I was working on that, sense of listening to the actor. And that helped later on when I started working more and more in comedy. And that's where the timing started landing up in a very right way because you could listen that now you have ended and now it is my time to say.
Mhm.
So otherwise, either you overlap or you react late because you are not attentive enough. So I think that whole thing, Baba Who Baby gave me that.
We're talking about 20 years of Babu Baby next year, but this year, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, Sarabhai versus Sarabhai celebrates 20 years. And I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
it's a very, very sharp satire on the elite classes of Mumbai. It really addresses this sort of, I guess we can call it the double standards of,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the sort of,
है बहुत तगड़ा है.
it's really good. How would you summarize these 20 years? And I think the Rajesh now, if he was to meet the Rajesh back then, who thought of Roshesh's way to speak Roshesh's character in a bathroom, what would you say? What would that Rajesh say to him back then, do you think?
I don't know. Yeah, again, I was not very. See, I was transported directly from a hostel life throughout my life, Since the standard of seventh to college, I was in hostel. So I had never seen so many families or interacted with any family. So I did not have any reference for any kind of for Osage. I had no family in my in my dictionary where
Mhm.
I could open and I say, okay, page number 35. This is like how the family is supposed to be. So it was everything in me was utopian world I created that this is how they are. I always knew this word called snob or snobbish, and that because in during college days we had those elite class who were so for the school I was in like was in Cameron Hall Dehradun and just right opposite or say 100 meters away was the Doon school so you knew how they are you knew how they behave with you so I think that stayed with me. But as a family, I did not have any reference to it. Uh, all I can say, यार, मतलब क्या बोलूं? It's been 2 decades and we still not have decade.
Yeah, legit, nice one.
So yeah, so I would have not said anything to that, Rajesh. Reason was because these there was too much, and still there is too much of honesty in search of something, and too much of honesty in exploring, rather than exploiting.
Hmm.
So I think that innocence which that Rajesh had, and that nervous energy which that Rajesh had, it worked for the character and it worked for the career of this Rajesh.
Hmm. Beautifully put, beautifully put. And I think it's so interesting because even in London, right? Like I'm from East London, and then you have the North Londons, and you see the Indians there, and there you can see a vast difference of attitude. There is definitely a lot of Maya Sarabhais that I see there, and I always, yeah, in fact, I've always said this. I think there needs to be some kind of a crossover between Charu Ben from Babahu Baby and Maya Sarabhai.
Yeah,
I think there needs to
yeah,
be like a sort of conversation between the two, to celebrate its 20 years. I would love to see how
yeah.
that conversation would pan out. No, but I think
But
it's
but
really,
but that is just one side. I mean, वो हम लोगों ने गुजराती उस पर्सपेक्टिव में एक्सप्लोर किया है.
yeah.
साउथ दिल्ली, you have thousands of them, lakhs of them, crores of them, I would say. And we haven't explored that side. But I think Maya Sarabhai not actually, you are right in a way, Anuj, that Maya Sarabhai is the representation of this so-called Sobo elite class staying anywhere in the world. I mean, there's so many Hollywood movies you have that reference of Maya Sarabhai, happening. एक कौन सी फिल्म थी मैं भूल रहा हूँ नाम उसका.
Devil Wears Prada, to be honest. That was the first idea that I came in my mind.
Which one? Which one? Which one?
Meryl Streep's. I think it was Devil Wears Prada.
Yes. तो देखो ना, मतलब वही है, that whole attitude of seeing through you. I mean, not seeing at you.
Yeah.
It was, in fact, मैं एक इंटरव्यू देख रहा था, एक बहुत बड़े एक्टर है, मैं नाम नहीं लूंगा तो वैसे कंट्रोवर्सी हो जाएगा. बीबीसी इंटरव्यू कर रहा था, एंड एट दैट टाइम व्हेन जब कैमरा उनके ऊपर था ना, इट वाज वेरी लेट 70s, early 80s, I'm talking about. I mean, the way he looked at the guy who was taking the interview from BBC, he didn't even see or look at him whenever he was talking. It was always, you are here and I'm looking somewhere there and I'm talking, and I could just hear and talk. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, about that. Yeah. तो तब हम लोग तो एज एन एक्टर छोटी छोटी चीज ऑब्जर्व कर लेता ना यार, कि कल को ये रोल मिला करने को, तो यू हैव द रेफरेंस पॉइंट नाउ टू कहाँ से आएगा ये. तो बट वो जो इन्वॉल्वमेंट होती है ना कॉन्वर्सेशन में, वो होना बहुत जरूरी है किसी भी जनरेशन के लिए. और किसी भी whatever start of society you belong to or whatever, बहुत जरूरी है.
Bilkul. No, very, very well said. But I think on a final note, you've done some amazing work so far, and I think it was so lovely to really see you in Teri Baaton. Honestly, I've seen the film like 2-3 times because I genuinely really enjoyed the experience. It was such a, I felt like I needed a good laugh. There was too many serious
Yeah.
So now that you've obviously done that, and what sort of projects can we look forward to? And also, I have a bit of a request, and I'm sure you've probably been asked this many a times, but I think for our viewers, we'd very, very appreciate it if you could, अगर आप रोशेश की आवाज निकाल सके और कुछ बोलते हमारे लिए, तो that would be lovely. Or say something. हाँ.
So, work front, there are 2 films yet to be released. Okay. One नवाजुद्दीन के साथ है, वो मर्डर मिस्ट्री है, वो एक रिलीज पे है. एक यूके में ही जो फिल्म की थी, that is also going to get released somewhere in April. I worked with Pankaj Kapoor in that. He has played my father.
Wow.
So same year ending, I was doing it with Shahid, and starting I was doing with Pankaj ji. And I worked with Supriya ji, and I worked with Ratna ji. So I think
Exactly. It's all in the family.
And any which ways, people tell me I look like Rishi Kapoor. So
Yeah,
a lot
actually,
of Kapoor resemblance happening. So I belong to that. Being a Kumar, I belong to Kapoors.
very true.
So these 2 films are yet to get released. Apart from that, there are 3 web series which are lined up. Very soon you'll see me again in the 3rd season of Kota Factory. Then Ye Meri Family is there on Amazon Mini TV. एक पे काम चल रहा है, under contract. I cannot disclose that, but उसी के लिए सारे बाल इस तरह से हो रखे हैं.
Oh, nice.
And ये है I think a lot to look forward to this year. Yeah, a lot of good works are happening, and variety of roles. So all the roles are different from each other. I mean, it is if I show you the collage and the performance in Haddi, which came out on Z5, and Teri Baaton में से लेके राउतू की बेली, with all the characters are different, all different characters. So a lot of good work. पोपट काका की आत्मा का पोपट उड़ गया उड़ गया रे सृष्टि के सर्जनहार से पोपट जुड़ गया जुड़ गया रे. How's that?
रोसेश is so adorable, man. He's so cute. Like
I
Sarabhai
know.
versus Sarabhai में रोसेश था और बाबू बेबी में गट्टू था. That voice
Good to the
that was so
true, true,
beautiful. And
true.
two actors, honestly, you and Devan Bhutani worked so hard in maintaining those two
Yeah,
characters.
yeah.
Honestly, hats off, quite literally,
No,
to you
no,
both for doing that. I think it's just remarkable. Rajesh sir, thank you so much for joining me on Filmy Shilmy. It's been such an honor and such a privilege to
thank
really
you.
have your insights and to really share your wisdom on this very crazy industry and the wonderful work you've been doing in agriculture. I'm sure a lot of people watching this will be very inspired. So thank you so much for that.
Thank
Really
you.
means a lot.
Thank you so much, Anuj. And it was very well conducted. And at least we did not have those typical questions, which I refrain from answering. कैसा लग रहा है आपको? That is one of the stupid question any journalist can ever ask for. You know, so I made that as a punchline for many of my works, where I say, you know, I have very original question to ask. I say, what? आपको कैसा लग रहा है?
So
तो
thank you.
थैंक गॉड बट आई फेल्ट गुड. तुमने पूछा नहीं कि आपको कैसा लग रहा है, बट हाँ मुझे अच्छा लगा. एंड कीप अप दिस गुड वर्क एंड कहीं भी बैठे रहो, you can do something meaningful for the whole world, and I think your interview is one of them.
Oh wow, that
So
means
thank
the
you.
world to me. So seriously, thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
that. Really encouraging.
Thanks, Anuj. Thank
Wonderful.
you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you. And
Rajesh sir.
see you soon in UK. I'll definitely get in touch with you the moment I'm there.
You must. You must. It'll be
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah. Pakka. Done. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.